What's up? Welcome back to What Do You Know About a Mortgage, the place where we highlight cool people, bring them in, and educate you on a lot of things that you may need to know or may want to know about cool people and how they're moving. And we're on the Gaylord Hanson Loan Depot platform, so we're going to incorporate mortgages in at the end. I'm your host, Jeff Hargrove. As you know, we got nothing but great people stopping through. I want to introduce my co-host real quick before we bring in the actual guest, Frankie the Flamingo. Give it up for Frankie. You know he's a G. He rocking with me. So at the end of the day, man, let's do it like this. I've been bringing y'all cool people. He's one of the coolest, man. Certified. Graduated from Notre Dame undergrad, then went to Indiana University, got the doctor degree, said I'm about to help people do a whole bunch of things and make them feel better in their life. Plastic surgeon, extraordinaire. John Brosious is in the building. Let's go. How you doing, brother?
Not too bad. Good to be here. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Glad you made time. I appreciate that. I know you are teaching now at UNLV.
Of course.
So I know your time is very precious. So let's just jump right into it if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
I gave you a nice little cool introduction, but I wanted the people to know a little bit more about you. I know you're from Central or Eastern PA.
Yep. Okay. So I was born in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania.
Shout out to Allentown.
Yep.
Okay.
And then my family, my parents actually live in Harrisburg, PA, so I kind of mostly grew up there. Like you said, went to undergraduate at Notre Dame, stayed in the state of Indiana for med school.
Okay. Yeah.
Stayed in the state of Indiana for med school, and then after I graduated med school, I did my in order to become a licensed physician, you have to do your apprenticeship, which is called residency. I did my residency here at UNLV School of Medicine, and I graduated in 2013. Ended up taking a job after that back home in Pennsylvania. I was actually working in Pittsburgh for about 3 years.
Okay, Pittsburgh. What up?
Yep.
I see you out there, Carnegie Mellon. Pitt, great medical schools out there.
Oh yeah, I mean Pittsburgh, fantastic city, great medical
Highmark,
center
I would
as well.
be remiss if I didn't say Highmark. I actually worked at Highmark on Forbes Avenue back in the day, so shout out to Highmark.
So, and then spent about 3 years there, do everything in plastic surgery, cosmetic, reconstruction, and then UNLV actually asked me to come back and be a part of the faculty of the med school. In 2016, I moved back.
Nice.
So currently I'm the director of the plastic surgery residency program at UNLV. I work do trauma, burns, limb reattachments, finger reattachments, extremity salvage, head to toe cosmetic surgery, and my new niche is actually gender affirmation surgery.
Wow.
So I started the program at UNLV, and I'm the only surgeon in the whole state that actually does the genital surgeries for the transgender
You're
patients.
the only surgeon that's doing that actual,
in the whole entire state of Nevada.
In the whole state of Nevada.
Yeah, that does
You're a
those
busy
surgeries.
man.
So I'm a busy man. So yeah, now,
Yeah.
especially now that insurance is paying for a lot of these procedures, it really has opened up the gates for a lot of these patients, and my practice has, my transgender practice has exploded.
Wow, that's dope. We're going to jump into that actually.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, what as a child, did you know what you wanted to do? How did you get into medicine?
No chance. So it's kind of random.
Was you watching Nip Tuck one day? It was I'm going to do that.
Yeah, it's funny because there's not even a single physician, there's not a single doctor in my family. It came from, middle class family, and I was always good at science, and so when I went to college, my mom said, yeah, maybe you should be pre-med, and so I was about halfway through my college at Notre Dame when I realized, if I don't go to medical school, it'd be really weird to explain to people why I have a pre-med degree for the rest of my life. So I scratched my head, I said, all right, I guess I'm applying to med school, and I got in, and then was fascinated with surgery. I'm an instant gratification kind of guy, so I liked about plastic surgery is that kind of what you see is what you get. It's a very pure specialty. So that's what kind of got me into plastic surgery. And then from there, I realized that I really like the reconstruction aspect of it, really helping people in a bind. And that's kind of how we even met, was through a friend of yours, basically got in a really bad car accident years ago and almost lost his arm. And I was involved with basically reattaching his arm. So that's the kind of work that I like to do, as well as transgender surgery too. So I still do a little cosmetic here and there to help pay the bills, but yeah, it's transgender's kind of been my focus for the last few years.
So with that said, my homeboy, my brother, really, D Spurriel, he's actually going to come on the show in a few episodes, but had a bad car accident, went through the Range Rover windshield, and it cut his arm to the point where I don't know how nerves and everything work, but it was damaged very, very badly. The initial assessment when I got to the hospital was they talking about, cutting his arm off. He was going to lose his just have almost a nub from the elbow down, you know what I mean? So John came in, and John was very precise on yo, we're going to make this happen, and this is how we're going to make it happen, and now we're going to save homeboy's arm. And just the optimism, the creativity he has, and it leads right into, like, I love right now his tattoos. You know what I mean? That's why he's the coolest doctor to me. He has so much creativity, and he has a passion for creating. He displays it on his skin, literally, and he helps people in those transitions as well. So why would you say you chose, out of all fields, to do some of the most hardest plastic surgery? You could have easily been nose and eyebrows, but quick skin graft here or there. You literally are working with cancer treatment patients. Yeah. You're working with transgenders, putting in, new genitals and things like that. What made you pick that route? So,
you hit the nail on the head. I think I probably would have had an easier life and a lot more money if I just would have did Botox and boob jobs all day long. Right. But, I think it's the challenge of the reconstruction. Okay. I mean, the stuff that most plastic surgeons would kind of cry when they see, that's the stuff that I run towards. Okay. Reattaching an arm, reattaching a finger. Just on this past 4th of July, a guy blew his finger off. We had to reattach that. I mean, that's the stuff that
probably happens like every 4th of July.
Every 4th of
right?
July. I knew it was coming. I actually was on call the whole weekend. The 4th fell on a Sunday, and I made it the whole weekend without a single call. And at 2 a.m. Sunday night, I guess Monday at that time, my trainees called me with I saw my text message, and it said "picture media," and I was like, "Please don't be a thumb. Please don't be a thumb."
Reattach some digits.
It was a thumb. Yeah. So that's the stuff that's the hardest and to me the most gratifying too. Dealing with the cancer patients, dealing with the trauma patients. I mean, you're changing lives. I mean, D now he can do push-ups and things like that. Right. Had I not been there, he would have lost his arm. Would have been a different story.
Facts.
The same thing with the transgender patients. I mean, you're given. Some of these patients are suicidal. These patients are, they hate their own bodies, and so to give them a new body part, that how they identify is like the greatest gift you could give somebody. I mean, these are my happiest patients. So I do a little bit of cosmetic surgery because it does pay well. It helps offset the fact that some of my trauma patients don't have insurance. A lot of my transgender patients don't come from a lot of means, and so I do a little bit of cosmetic to kind of offset that. But my real passion is the trauma, the cancer, and now the gender surgery.
So before we jump into the gender surgery specifically, I've asked a few of the female homegirls, what do y'all want to know? What are cool questions that I can ask Doc? BBL was a big response. Yeah. And I know you're not selectively doing that big right now, but there's a couple questions if we could just get those out the way. To kind of ask, to let the girls know. One was, are women dying from BBL surgeries?
And so that's a good question, and that's the main reason that I stopped doing that. Of all the procedures in plastic surgery, head to toe, reconstruction and cosmetic, the only operation I refuse to do is BBL.
Is it because of the potential death?
Yeah, it's the safety issue. And so now that the studies have really borne out that it's about a 1 in 3,000 death rate. Jesus. So it doesn't sound like a big number, but if you think about cosmetic surgery across the board, tummy tucks, facelifts, that kind of thing, that's about 1 in 15,000. So we're talking about a procedure that's 5 times deadlier than anything else that we do in plastic surgery. And so I know here in town recently, within the past few years, we had several deaths, none of my patients, but other surgeons. And so for me, it would be really hard to sleep at night knowing that, I killed a young woman or man, whoever wants it, for a butt,
For a butt lift.
Exactly. So even though the patients are signing up for it, they know the risks. I don't know how I would live with myself knowing that, I killed someone. And at the same time, it's not always necessarily the surgeon's fault. The reason that this is so dangerous is that
infections.
It's all kinds of different things. So I'll tell you what actually kills people. It's a lot of people don't know this. If you think of just in a nutshell what a BBL is, we do liposuction like we normally would do somebody.
And for those who may not know, what is BBL, Brazilian butt lift? So
BBL stands for Brazilian butt lift. It's basically just augmentation of your buttocks. And so, some patients call, I want the J-Lo booty, I want the Nicki Minaj booty. They literally call my office asking for these things. So what that is
you damn rappers, you see what you've done hip hop.
I know. What have you done, Kim Kardashian, to my practice?
No one wants the Asher Roth penis. They just want the Cardi B booty, right?
That's right. So what happens is we do liposuction on their whole body, and rather than throw that fat away like we would traditionally do, we process the fat and we basically just re-inject the fat into the buttocks where they want the fat. The problem is you have big blood vessels in your buttocks, and so you're blindly injecting all this fat. If that fat gets into a blood vessel, it can travel to your heart and kills you right on the operating room table. So that's what kills people. They die, not a week later from infection. They die right then and there. They get die on the operating room table, they die in the recovery room. So so you'll know right then and there if you kill a patient. And you can't really prevent it. You know, sometimes we say, well, don't inject so deep, but even when surgeons have tried to inject in the kind of superficial levels, it's still very deadly. So to me,
let me ask you the question. Those numbers that you got right there, those are U.S. statistics, I'm guessing. We're not talking about DR, where everybody be flying out to DR, Costa Rica, Venezuela to get their booty done by doctors they don't even know, bro. Like, they're going to Mexico. Like, so them numbers really could be a lot higher.
If we're talking
foreign, for real.
Yeah, then you're talking about much higher if you're going to include, you know, places like Mexico and the DR where people are going.
So ladies and gentlemen, if that's what you choose, I mean, be careful, man. BBLs. Man, love your booty, man. Eat more cornbread, some grits, do some squats, man. Yeah, man. Like, love yourself as much as you can first, bro. Like, the other question was on the BBLs, and then we're going to transition. Will it affect long term you having a baby, a person having a baby?
No, the BBL shouldn't. So the BBL, the nice thing about it, the reason it was so popular is that unlike other fillers on your lips that you get and it goes away in a year, the BBL is your own fat. So once your blood vessels grow into that becomes a part of you, and it's just like your own fat, like it would be anywhere else in your body. So it doesn't affect ability to have a baby. It doesn't affect, you know, unless it gets infected or something like that.
So it actually
really absorbs
into the body.
Becomes part. It becomes part of you, just like it was, and so it's not like a breast implant where you have this foreign substance inside you.
Gotcha.
It just becomes another part of fat that's somewhere else.
Well, that's different because when this first started, I know a few ghetto operations that people were getting cement put in their butt. They was getting that Fix-A-Flat stuff put in their butt.
And we still see that.
We still see augmented booty cheeks. They look like the lollipop. You know what I'm talking about. They got the skinny legs and the real unproportionate butt. You run around looking like Woody the Woodpecker on steroids with the back end. Come on, man. Like, that's not hormones. That's not, the Wendy's burger. That's not chicken wings. That's implants that went wrong. So from there to actually moving to breast augmentation, are you seeing a lot less breast implants, or are people getting them removed now? Is it becoming more of a natural thing?
So the breast, I guess, part of it is that the massive breasts, although here in Las Vegas it's still and probably will always be a popular thing. Across the country, kind of the trend is to have a little bit less breast augmentation and a little bit smaller volume. But what we're seeing is an increased awareness of a disease that we're, as plastic surgeons, and physicians, we're not 100% sure how much of this disease exists, but it's called breast implant illness.
What's that?
So it's basically this constellation of symptoms, very vague symptoms: fatigue, joint pain, hair loss, memory loss, that women seem to be getting after breast augmentation. Now, this has been extensively studied. Some studies show maybe this does exist. Some studies show that maybe it doesn't exist. So there needs to be a lot more research. But I believe when the women come in and they tell me, I think that my breast implants are causing some of these symptoms, and ask for them to come out, I tell them, look, it may help if I take these out, it may not, but I do see a significant amount of women who are coming in asking for their implants to be removed because they're afraid that it may be affecting their body. And so,
is there a chemical connotation to that?
Well,
the mind. How would it?
We're not really sure. Actually, we had a toxicologist come talk to our residency program a couple weeks ago to kind of talk. He studies this stuff as to is there some type of chemical, or what's causing this, or is this not even a thing? Is this in the mind of these women?
Right.
And so we really don't know. There's really nothing that we can pin down.
You need more studies.
We need more studies. Right now, the working theory is that maybe you just have systemic inflammation from an implant, and that somehow causes all of these symptoms. But again, these are very vague symptoms, so it's hard to track. It's not like you get a blood test.
It's very early
joint
on
pain,
in the stage,
that kind of thing. Yeah, so we'll probably know more about it in the next few years. But certainly, I have women coming to my office a lot more now than they did, say, 5 years ago, asking for their implants to be removed.
Wow.
So, and I tell them, look, it may help, it may not. And I would say it's flip a coin. I'd say half the women come back and they say, you know what, I feel great. And the other half of the women say, I don't feel any different. And so whether that's in their head or that's a real thing, that's not really for me to judge. If they want their implants out, I said, I'll be happy to do it.
One more question. I'm going to save the transgender part for after the segment of Bet on Yourself. But one more before we jump into betting yourself. What was one of the hardest surgeries or most difficult surgeries you had to perform? And would, where did you dig deep to maybe help that thing go right, or how did it, how did it go?
So that's a great question, and the answer to that actually goes to the whole transgender and goes also to the bet on yourself.
Okay, so let's segue
to bet on yourself. So let's
discuss. He's already plugged. He knows how to do it.
Let's backtrack to what got me into gender surgery.
Let's do it right now. I'll introduce it. In this segment right here, we call Bet on Yourself.
All right. So about whatever year, so 2013, I went out into practice, tail end of the recession. When you go out into practice during a recession, you as a plastic surgeon, it's not like your office is full of patients who want a boob job or something like that. You had to hustle. And so I did anything under the sun to make money. I took call taking hand trauma, I did foot wounds, I did butt wounds, chronic wounds, and I got this reputation that I wouldn't say no to anything. If it was remotely related to plastic surgery, I had to eat. I would say yes.
Yeah.
So I started getting phone calls from transgender patients in Pittsburgh saying, "Hey, are you willing to do transgender surgery?" And I said, I've never done it, but I do everything. I'm sure I could learn it. And so my first patient came into the office. It was a transgender woman, so a male to female, and she clearly was transgender. She had a very large frame, and clearly was a trans woman. And I had a consultation about breast augmentation, and she started crying at the end of it. And this was about 2015. She starts crying, so I just immediately assumed that I used the wrong pronoun, that I misgendered her, somehow offended her. And I said, "I'm sorry, what did I say to offend you?" And she said, "No, you didn't offend me. You're the first doctor in all of the city of Pittsburgh that treated me like a human being."
Oh, wow.
And so she was so happy about that. And I was just shocked that this is, 2014, 2015, that human beings are being treated like, second-rate citizens by physicians, by society. So, and so I did her surgery. She didn't come from a lot of money. She was a hairdresser and borrowed like $10 from everyone she knew and was able to pay for the surgery. And I never had a happier patient. And so that's when I kind of had this passion for gender surgery, and I realized that I can help a whole community that was basically ignored by doctors. And back then insurance really wasn't paying for these surgeries, so it was kind of few and far between.
It still is for some insurances.
So interestingly, when I moved to Nevada a few years ago, the state Medicaid, Medicare, and most of the commercial insurances were paying for gender affirmation surgery.
Oh, that's what's up.
And the reason they're paying for this is people always say, "Well, that's not fair. Why do they get these surgeries? And this is cosmetic." And really, this is not cosmetic. This is life-saving surgery. These people. Right. A transgender person has a 40% chance in their lifetime of a suicide or a suicide attempt. 40%. Wow. And so that's why these procedures have shown that the self-harm rate goes down, the integration into society is better, their depression goes down, the suicide rates can improve. And so that's why the insurance companies are paying for this. Insurance companies don't want to pay for surgeries that they don't have to, right? So they fought this tooth and nail, but the evidence is out there now that these patients do so much better and assimilate into society that this is medically necessary surgery. So insurance pays for, right now, their chest surgeries, which I do, that's the mastectomies for the transgender men, and the breast augmentation for trans women, and then the genital surgeries. Right. So this is all covered in the state of Nevada. So when I moved to Nevada, and people found out I do trans surgery, my office started getting flooded with patients wanting, the mastectomies and the breast augmentations. And then after, a few months of doing that, the patients told me, what are you going to do for genital surgeries? And I said, okay. I asked them, well, what are we doing for genital surgery right now in Nevada? Right. They said, there's no one in the state. There's only a handful of people in the country that do it. There's some people in New York. There's some people in California. They don't really take out-of-state insurance, and we don't want to have these huge surgeries and elsewhere. So I looked at them and I said, okay, this is where I bet on myself. So this is where I bet on myself. I said, okay, nice. I've never done these very complicated surgeries before, but I will learn these surgeries and I will offer these in the state of Nevada.
So how long, and I'm going to stop you right there, how long did it take, because you're a man of craftsmanship, I could tell that all about you and the way you move. How long did it take to truly learn how to, because that's not something you practice on somebody.
No, this is from the time that I decided I was going to offer genital surgery, from that day to the day I did my first vaginoplasty, which is male to female genital surgery, was actually done 1 year ago, August 20th. So I just celebrated my 1 year anniversary.
There you go, anniversary.
Yeah,
there
so 1 year anniversary of offering a genital surgery here in Nevada. And so it took about a year and a half from the time that I decided I wanted to do genital surgery till the time I could actually do it. Because number one, I had to learn how to do these surgeries. Right. Number two, I had to get the hospital to fall in line with these, to get on board with getting the team ready, to get the supplies I need. I need to get the insurance companies on board, make sure they weren't going to give me a hard time with these. And then I had to get the patients, let them know. So I basically read every single journal and textbook article that was ever published from the 90s till today on the the genital surgeries. I went to conferences on the genital surgeries. And then finally I went into another institution. I took my own vacation time, my own money, and I traveled to another medical center where they do them, and I kind of observed them doing some of this vaginoplasty, which is male to female genital surgery. And then I came down here and I told the patients, hey, look, I never really, did this before, but if you guys are willing, I'm going to start doing them here. And patients were fighting over who could be first. They understood. I mean, most of these patients thought they would never have the surgery because there was no one that offered it in Nevada.
You were bringing sunshine.
So they thought, they were not picky about how it looks, how it feels. Like for them, they just didn't want to have. For them, a lot of them, it's a safety issue, right? They have a penis and testicles that they have to kind of hide when they're in public. If they go to the airport, they could get screened. If they get, God forbid, they go to jail, what prison, which jail do they go to? So a lot of it is a safety issue. So it's not so much the function, the ability to have sex, and that's a home run if we can get that. But for them, they just don't want to have that hanging part that could potentially be a huge problem in the safety issue for them. So a lot of them, initially, that's what people always ask me. They're going to just let you do this on them like a guinea pig, and it's either that or nothing. So that's kind of the way they look at it.
There's not a lot of choice.
And they trusted me, and I've been doing genital reconstruction for burns, trauma, congenital deformities all my life. So this was nothing new, and that's one of the things I liked about plastic surgery is that I get to be creative. Like when Dee came in, I mean, Dee had a weird injury, and there's no one injury that's the same. There's no one cancer patient that has the same problem, and so I'm always creative and problem solving. And so for me, learning these techniques was just another way for me to learn something new, and I'm not new to that.
Super interesting, man. I'm learning a lot. The reason that I'm a little bit more quiet right now is because normally with my guests, I know a lot of the information that you're spewing. I'm going back and forth, but I'm learning right now, and I'm being honest right now. I'm gonna take 2 minutes to say, and I don't want to mess this up. The LGBTQ+ community. I know there's extras onto that. We need to be more respectful. Like he said, 40% chance of death. Let's not act like we don't have somebody we know who's gay in our family or a friend who's gay. Like, you got to get over yourself and your phobias. Like, and for these surgeries to make them feel how we feel naturally, like, how beautiful is that, bro? Like, how much hate in your heart you got to wake up to not like somebody because they want to be different, because they felt like they were born different. Like, that's ugly. We got to walk past that. We got to get past that line. So I'm proud that you came on this show representing, being the first person today. Congratulations on that.
Of course, man. Of
being
course.
the only one. Hopefully we got multiple more people, doctors that'll see this or are already in training and practicing. And
that's been one of the nice things. I'm the director of the residency program here at UNLV.
There we go.
So now hopefully my trainees, they don't have to travel around the country. They don't have to, start these programs from scratch. They can hopefully take all these techniques that I taught them.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, the gender stuff is kind of, that's how that was my bet on myself, was that, this is a wild surgery. And I don't have a urologist to help me. A lot of institutions, they have a urologist to kind of help them. I was like, I got to learn the urology part then. We don't have urologists.
You're really out there on a field of your own learning this shit. That's what I'm saying.
So it could have gone horribly wrong. And so my first few, I was very nervous because this community is very tight-knit. They're very big on social media. And they'll hear about you. And if you're having bad outcomes, that could just derail this whole project. And that's kind of how I bet on myself. And the patients I've never worked with cooler patients. I mean, these people, they've been treated so poorly by society. Society's been just crappy to them all around, right? And so the bar has been set so low for this population that all I have to do is be a nice guy and do my surgery to the best of my ability, and they think I'm a hero.
And that's where we got to get over the hump. That's what I'm saying. We got to get past that. It's 2021 going to 2022. Yeah. Treat people like you want to be treated. Whatever happened to that, man? Everybody wants to be... we won't go down a rabbit hole with that, but there's a lot of hate out there, and I can understand. There is. It's sad to hear the part that I touch base with. I'm just like, people, I know depression, mental health. We're going to have an actual show on mental health. We're going to bring in some doctors and on that. Just in general, but also in the black community where we don't really talk about mental health a lot. I can only imagine, I'm a straight heterosexual male, but I can only imagine when I'm depressed I get depressed. I'm a strong person, I believe. We all get depressed. We all go through our little thing. Imagine that every day waking up not being what you may feel you need to be, and society outwardly shaming you about it. Not only your own mindset of what you think, society is outwardly shaming you. We gotta get past that, man. Yeah. So 40% death rate, like
40% suicide attempt. So suicide or suicide attempt. But I've had patients who have committed suicide. Certainly, a lot of them are cutters. But these patients are. like you said, they have been treated so poorly by society. But the HIV rate of my patients is so high. A lot of them are prostitutes. A lot of them can't find another job. And so, it's really a special population. And to me, this is, I'm not really religious or anything, but we talked about the golden rule and everything. And that's kind of, I had a Catholic upbringing. And to me, this is like the best way I could help a huge percentage of the population as one surgeon.
You're doing that.
And so in a way, and my patients are inspiring to me. You kind of talked about the tattoos and things like that. And so, I've always had tattoos. They weren't as visible as they are today, but my patients, these are the transgender population in Las Vegas. I mean, it is the coolest population that you could work with. I mean, half of these patients have face tattoos and purple hair, right? So, and they're not going to judge me for how I look. This is the society have been judging them how they look their whole entire lives.
Quote unquote the unturned, but y'all the misfits. Y'all blend. You one of them.
So they look at me and they'll tell me, rather than, because everybody and their mother said, I can't believe you're getting your throat and your hands tattooed.
I ain't gonna lie to you, Doc. When I seen you with the throat, I ain't seen him in like a year. When I seen, I said, ooh, it's gangster. Yeah. But I ain't never seen a doctor. I was like, that's dope though. That's dope. And my patients say that, and so all my friends are like, oh, I can't believe you're getting this. You're a doctor. This is a horrible idea. This is going to be horrible for your practice. And I will say that I've not had any patients say anything negative about it, but many of my transgender patients, the minute that they see me, they're like, you know what? You seem cool. You seem down to earth, and you're definitely not going to judge me. It's like a no judgment zone in my office. Allen Iverson was the first hooper that really came in with the tattoo. Jalen Rose in the Fab Five set it off, but really tatted out, hip hopped out was Allen Iverson. And for the Sixers, he changed the culture of the world of basketball and hip hop.
He did,
and I feel that vibe from you. Like, not many doctors I've ever seen with more than maybe a tattoo on their arm or something, and now you fully sleeved up with the neck and there. Watch how many doctors start, rocking your style.
I'm pretty sure, as of right now, I'm probably the only doctor on this planet with a throat tattoo. And it's probably both my hands tattooed. So.
Gang. All right, let's quickly segue to UNLV. Where you have now become is the associate professor. So
I'm an assistant professor of plastic surgery within our new school of medicine. So we actually
tell us about the students. Tell us about the experience. Rap to us about it, man.
So UNLV actually the medical school is brand new. I believe it's the newest medical school in the country. We opened shop up. We opened our doors 4 years ago. We just graduated our first class of doctors.
Congrats.
Like last June. So shout out to UNLV Medicine for that. And so I'm the director of the plastic surgery residency training program. So after medical school, you have to do 6 more years if you want to be a plastic surgeon, 6 more years of what's called residency. That's your apprenticeship. So I did my training here, and now I'm very proudly the program director currently of the training program. So I have 6 residents below me. It's 1 trainee per year, and they learn everything from cosmetic surgery, reconstruction, mostly at UMC Trauma Center,
right.
But all over town as well. We send them all over town to kind of get a well-rounded experience. So that's been going good.
What type of kids are we seeing coming in?
Oh, this is the top gun to get into plastic surgery. I mean, we have 1 spot per year, and I was fortunate enough to get 1 per year, and I usually get about 300 to 400 applications for that spot.
Wow, from all over the country?
From all over the country, yeah. So, for example, I went to Indiana University, and I came here for residency, so we have people from all over. The kid that we just took.
But let's not act like you wasn't top of your class. You was the number one.
Well. Yeah, you have to do well.
He was the number 1 guy coming out the gate, so.
You have to do well.
If this was football or basketball, he was the number 1 draft pick.
You have to be, yeah. For plastic surgery, you got to be, top. You're one of the top in the class.
Yeah.
And so that's why I have excellent trainees. I mean, these people are studs.
Nice.
These men and women are studs. So yeah, it's great. Things are going great with the school. There's some growing pains with a new institution, brand new medical school.
Right.
But it's good because Nevada has a shortage of doctors. It's the joke in Nevada has always been, where do you go to get the best healthcare in Nevada? McCarran Airport. So we're trying to change that. So
there's a lot to that. There's a lot to that.
And so there was really a doctor shortage, and there was an academic center up until recently. So having a medical school kind of sets the bar as the standard for the community as well. Mm-hmm. So we're hoping to bring in a lot of services. For example, this transgender stuff that I'm doing, but in all specialties across the board, things that we never offered before. So we went from having nothing to now we have cutting edge stuff like transgender surgery and some of the other things we're doing at the School of Medicine.
Right.
So good things happen with UNLV. We definitely need more doctors here in the state, and so if we can churn them out through our medical school, we're all going to be better off.
And I can attest to that. I literally tore my Achilles on my right foot, and I went to the hospital. They referred me to a doctor. I won't name the place. spine in whatever place of Nevada. He told me not to get surgery, just to see how it heals. Come to find out, I should have had surgery on a second opinion after I did like 4 months or 3 months of rehab. They're like, you're not responding the way you should be. Went to a second opinion. He was like, yeah, you should have the surgery right away. No, I can't do it because it's
Yeah.
Shout out to Dr. Curvetti over there in Summerlin, and I believe they have an office here in the Southwest office. When I tore my quad and my PCL, they were able to get me right back on there, and they're certified. I've had operations for sports and all kind of stuff, so I know doctors all over the country, and they were just top notch. Like if I was in LA or Pittsburgh or somewhere else, but there's some bums out here, and that's not. There's scary stories about medical and doctors out here. So that's one. I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing, and but two, you're drafting in new people and bringing in a class of new people that can really do a great, part of goodness. I don't even know what to say, like a great substance to bring to the table for them.
No, I mean, we need more doctors. We need more good doctors. And with the population growing, we already have a shortage as it is. And now we have people moving from California. We have people moving from all over the country coming to Vegas. If we don't we have to catch up before those people even get here. Yeah. So otherwise we're going to be really in a hole when they get to town. And there's not, it's not going to be doctors to take care of us, and good doctors too with that. So.
Are you a sports guy?
Notre Dame football. I don't really follow NFL, but college football. We got to open.
I expect you to say Notre Dame football.
Yeah, so
it's a religion when you go there.
My father went to Notre Dame too, so growing up an Irish Catholic guy, my parents, we'd sit down and watch Notre Dame football, and even my grandparents, they got my dad into Notre Dame football before we even went there. It was just what you did when you're an Irish Catholic, you watch Notre Dame football. Grew up a big fan, and obviously that's how I spent my Saturday afternoon. So we haven't had national championships since '88, and we've come close a few times. But
that was back in VHS days.
Yeah, back in VHS. Yeah. So now these kids
to even know what he's talking about.
So so the kids now we're trying. Notre Dame's trying to
go
recruit.
Buckeyes. Oh man. Yes, sir.
So Ohio State always has a solid team, but it's hard to recruit.
Of now, I tell people when I was there in '96, '97, bro, we were struggling. Well, we were good, but there was some years before Cooper got there. It was ugly. It was really ugly. Michigan, that team up north was kicking our ass like every year. Anyway, I know your pain, but once you get back on the roll, I'm sure it'll be good. You'll be back again. Hip hop. Are you a hip hop fan at all?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because I see Johnny Blaze on the neck.
Yeah.
And shout out all my people that know about Method Man, aka Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
The
so I got Gucci Man. I got Gucci Man's face tattoo on my arm right here.
Blaze. You got Gucci Man on you?
That's Gucci Man's face tattoo.
Get the fuck. You ain't got no Gucci Man on.
That's Gucci Man's face tattoo.
Oh wow.
So this is Gucci Man's face tattoo. I call this my Gucci Man face tattoo.
Do you like this? Show the audience. Got the ice cream Gucci on.
Yeah, burr. So I call it my Gucci Man face tattoo because it's not a Gucci Man face tattoo. No, that would imply I got Gucci Man's tattoo on my face.
That's what I thought you had. No, you didn't put
I got Gucci Man's face tattoo. When he got that tattoo so many years ago, I thought this was the funniest tattoo I'd ever seen. I was like, this is it's a bad tattoo. It's on your face, and this is a very dark African American man, and a very colorful tattoo. And some artists let him do that, and it was to celebrate him coming out of a mental health institution. I said, this is the whole story behind this tattoo is so hilarious. I want to get this on my arm, and then I got this tattoo on my arm, and nobody, really, people knew about Gucci, but it wasn't until like that Black Beatles song came out. And then all of a sudden that Black Beatles song came out. Now every hipster has this tattoo. So now I'm like, man, it's not like special anymore. But yeah, big hip hop fan. I make my operating room team listen to hip hop for like 8 hours every day in the operating room.
Loving that.
Just blasting.
I'm loving that. Big Ear
old school stuff. Yeah, some old school.
Hold on. We're gonna start hitting you. Big Ear Tupac.
Tupac died at UMC, but I'm East Coast, man. So I got shout out to Biggie right there. Yeah, Tupac. So his spirit lives there, I like to say. But no, I'm East Coast, man. Shout out to Biggie, man. Yeah, shout out to Biggie. But Tupac, God,
Mobb Deep or CNN?
Mobb Deep is probably my favorite old school. I was actually running today, listening to some Mobb Deep today. Yeah.
Rest in peace,
Prodigy. Yeah, he died right here in Las Vegas as well. Another great rapper died in Las Vegas. So
what's going on with Las Vegas rappers and shit?
Yeah, bad luck.
Wu-Tang's one of the greatest groups of all time.
Of course, you got
Wu-Tang and Run DMC.
Yeah, Wu-Tang. Yeah, of course, Wu-Tang. Yeah.
I mean, that's not Run DMC is not really our era, but it is.
A little bit before us.
But you can't stop the Wu-Tang.
No, Wu-Tang was.
Protect your neck. You already know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, grew up with that stuff. Old dirty bastard.
Pharrell or Kanye West?
Oof, that's a tough one. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with Kanye.
You can say both. I'm
gonna have to go with Kanye. Kanye, he just brings it, man. As much as I don't like the guy as a person, he brings it every time.
He's a genius.
He is. He's just
this guy is literally selling out stadiums right now. playing his album that's not an album, completed album.
Yeah, I know.
For like $6,000 for a pair of tickets, like $3,000 a ticket. And he's selling out stadiums. And he's not rapping. He's walking around in some Gap clothing that he just made.
Yeah, with his iPhone.
With a Ghostface Killer do-rag on where you can't see the face.
Yeah.
And he's playing you music that literally isn't even finished for $3,000 a ticket. If that's not genius, I don't know what it is.
He can produce. I mean, he's a wizard with the samples. He really is a guru with the samples, and so I got a lot of respect for him. As much as as a person who's kind of not exactly the greatest role model, but as an artist, gotta love him.
I'm glad you said that. We should stop looking to athletes and entertainers for role models. Raise your own damn kids.
Yeah,
these people are human, and you don't know what mental health issues they're going through, what they're fighting, depressions, drugs, alcohol. Fame is a funny drug. Just because a person's famous doesn't mean he should be raising your kid.
Yeah.
Like, raise your own damn kid. And if they listen to certain music, guide them on it. Okay, Kanye said this, that, and 1/3. I don't want you listening to this. You're a little too young for that. Or, let's see what he meant by that, but you're not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, have conversation. People always get mad at other people and athletes in general for not doing something, or it's going to look bad on the kids. Raise your damn kids.
Yeah.
Tell them right from wrong. Yo, he did this. This was wrong. Not that was my own sermon to the camera, not to John. John looking at me like, yo, bro, why you spazzing on me right now?
I can agree with that.
But just being real, like, yo, we got to start raising our own kids. Stop leaving it to athletes and entertainers. Like, be a damn parent. Like, And we're going to segue with that being said into what do you know about a mortgage? LTV 123. So this segment right here is 5 questions I got for you that you do not know about. As you know, you don't know, and you can't see my handwriting because it's chicken scratch. So you literally on the hot seat for 5 questions to find out what do you know about a mortgage, right? Question number 1. Frankie, we're going to get him on this one, Frankie. Can you draw all of your money out of a 401k to buy a home? Do you know?
I will say that the answer is yes, but no. You can liquidate your entire 401k, but there is a penalty, so you won't get it all.
Let's go to the judges' scorecards on this one. I don't know. It's kind of tricky how these Notre Dame guys be coming in here with these tricky questions. Jerome did the same shit.
You wanted a yes or no answer.
Jerome came in here with that same shit. There's one you can do this. And all right, so he halfway way, yes. Okay, so 401k will allow you to take your money out to buy a home. Yes, that's true. But typically is a limit on it. You can go up to like 50% or 50,000, I think is the max.
Okay.
But if you only have 10,000 in your account, they may let you take the whole 10,000. Each account is a little bit different, but the standard is normally 50% up to 50,000, whatever's less than.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I learned something.
So you kind of finessed your way into that answer. These damn Notre Dame guys every time, man. All right, question number 2. If buying a home with a friend, and that friend is a veteran. So let's just say you were, hey man, let's get our money together and buy an investment property. And I'm a veteran and you're not. How much of the home would the VA pay for? 100% or 50% of my financing of the home? Or let me rephrase that because I kind of led you down that. Will the VA pay 100% or 50% of the home if you're not a veteran and you're buying it with a friend?
And your friend is not your domestic partner or anything like that, just a friend.
I would have said domestic partner. Just a friend.
I said he's just a friend.
So you say
it's just a friend. I'm going to say
just a friend.
I'm going to say that it'll be 50%.
They got it right. Bingo. Yeah, so basically the VA is saying, hey, if you're not married, we're only going to do 50% of financing. Your friend's going to have to do a whole nother financing, conventional, FHA, whatever they do. But yeah, you're right. The VA will only sponsor the veteran unless they're married. All right. Question number 3. Does adding a pool onto a home or in the backyard of a home add value to the home? Does that really add value to the home when we put a big-ass pool in the backyard? Give us an answer. Do you know?
I'm going to say not dollar for dollar.
Do you know? Do you know? Do you know?
I say most of what these appraisers are looking at in my limited understanding is square footage and location.
John came in here swinging the bat and hitting the ball today, y'all. He's hitting the ball today. All right, yes, he's absolutely correct. If you go ahead and put a pool into the backyard, you're not getting dollar for dollar value. So if you went over the top, you put the rocks and flame shooting stuff coming out and lights all over the place.
You got your little grotto.
Mermaids and koi fish. That's beautiful, man. We love it. We all gonna come over. We gonna barbecue and kick it in your backyard. But you won't really see that dollar for dollar value over time because of what's called comparables. It's got to compare to something. It's got to have something that contrasts to a neighborhood. It can't be so outbuilt that you got to go 5, 6, 10 miles to find something that's comparable to that. So don't expect dollar for dollar value. But yes, it will add some value. Question number 4. Can a person refinance their current property? Can a person refinance their current parents? If you were to have a home bought with your parents and you wanted to refinance them off the loan and hold it down yourself, can you refinance and take them off the loan?
Yes.
Correct. If your parents are on the loan, someone else helped you buy a home with you, as long as you can afford that payment dolo yourself, then you can refinance and get them off. The title of the home is called a quick claim deed. You can quick claim them off the title of the home. But as far as the actual loan, who's responsible for the payment? Yes, you can refinance that person off the loan. Yeah. Last question. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, I would think most parents, they would want that option. Otherwise, they're stuck with that house forever with their kids. Right.
Well, some parents are doing that or kicking the kids out and then renting it out.
Yeah, it's true. That's cold.
Depends. Right?
That's cold.
Is your kid a degenerate or not, right?
That's true.
All right, so question number 5. This is a personal question. We like to give a selection of questions after you get done pre-gaming. We'll give this for pre-game. It's normally post-game we were doing before. I'm going to switch it up now. We're going to do pre-game. Pre-game. Before we go out and do what we about to do in these streets, bro, we going to Mastro's or are we going to Cut in the Venetian?
Oof. You know, Jerome and I, that's our spot, Cut.
Shout out to my man Gianni and Cut. Shout out to Cut in the Venetian. Cut you already know how we get down.
You got love for Mastro's, though.
Mastro's is beautiful. Let's be real. Mastro's butter cake, untouchable. Lobster mash at Mastro's, untouchable.
And the venue, oh man, that venue.
Venue's beautiful. But when you walk in Cut, the service you get at Cut from drinks, they make their own liquor and they got the barrels sitting there. Oh man, he's gonna kill me. My man that's up front doing the servicing, the bartender. I forget right now, but then they got beautiful Cora walking around making smoky whiskey pig 15-year old fashions, and it's just a different vibe, man. So either way, Cut or Mastro's, whenever you're in Vegas, great place. We like to pregame at Cut. Shout out to Gianni, we in the building, man. Before we let you go, shout out all the places people can find you. I know you're on social media, so it's really going to be UMC or whatever.
Google me. Yeah,
Google UNLV or something. But your last seconds, whatever you want to throw out there, any shout outs, anything you want to give to the people.
So no, I just want to I can't thank you for having me on this. My first time ever doing a podcast. I actually had to look up what a podcast was because I wasn't even sure what this is. So,
are you serious?
Yeah, I never listened to a podcast in my entire life.
That's crazy.
So now hopefully I can get into it. You know.
There you go.
But no, I just want to shout out to you for having me and for doing such a good thing to kind of like highlight some community members and bring awareness. And I just want to put my plug in for the gender expansive community, the non-binaries, the transgenders. We're out there trying to make the world a little bit better for you guys.
Yes, sir.
And I'm doing my best to kind of lead the way in terms of the healthcare aspect of that. So
well, you're doing it, my brother. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep plugging away. For all my guests out there, I appreciate y'all. Love y'all for growing with me, letting me make my mistakes. Comment, share, like, do all that shit. Subscribe. Let me know what I'm doing right, what I'm not doing right. I'm probably not going to read your comments because I don't be looking for the hate. But if you DM me some real stuff or hit me with a real comment, I will respond back. Thank y'all for the love. Every episode is going to be hot. Stay tuned. We out.